my name is Kat, and today I have some books to talk about. What a shocking turn of events. So September is over, which means it's time for me to discuss the books I read over the month. I have 4 books to talk about today, so this should be a pretty quick video. Then again, what I should do and what I actually do are often not the same thing. So let's get started before I ramble for like 10 minutes about how this should be a quick video. Yeah, let's do this. So first up, I have here The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. This is the Booksplosion Book of the Month pick for September. We're doing a paid promotion with Disney Hyperion, so huge thanks to them for sponsoring this month's read along. This is book 1 in a new middle grade series about a boy named Prosper Redding who comes from a very well-off family. They founded the town that they live in, Red Hood, and the Reddings are basically like the royal family of this town. Like, everyone knows who they are, they're very successful and powerful, and Prosper comes to learn that the reason for all of this success and power is because one of his ancestors made a deal with a demon. They're called fiends in this book, but like, they're pretty demon-y. However, the Redding ancestor who made this deal decided that he didn't actually want to follow through with it. So he tried to betray the fiend and kill him, but he failed. So now, generations later, Prosper is essentially possessed by this fiend who is still trying to regain enough strength to get his revenge on the entire Redding family. And until this fiend gets his full-blown revenge, he takes a lot of joy in tormenting Prosper from, you know, inside of him, just like constantly talking to him and annoying him and occasionally taking control of his body. I enjoyed this book so much, which really isn't that surprising because I've loved all of Alexandra Bracken's books. It had such a great balance of fun and humor and spookiness and darkness. Alistair, the fiend, was actually one of my favorite characters, which I wasn't expecting, but he just had so much personality on the page, and he was evil, but like in a fun way. I just thought he was great. Like, I loved his dialogue. He spoke in like an old-fashioned way, so his insults were kind of Shakespearean and like really funny. I definitely think this is a great book to read around Halloween times because it has that nice spooky atmosphere to it. Like, it takes place in October as well, and you have like the fiends and ghosts and hobgoblins and witches and curses, and it's just it was so atmospheric and just a really fun like fall read. And aside from like the atmosphere and the fun and the humor, there's also a really great story here. There were more layers particularly surrounding the fiend, Alistair, than I expected, and I loved it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I'll be talking about it in spoilery detail in the Booksplosion live show, which is happening October 7th. So I'll put all the details about that down below if you want to check it out. Next up, I have here A Shadow Bright and Burning by Jessica Cluess. This is the first book in a historical fantasy series. Series. I actually don't know how many books it's gonna be. Like, it's a big world. We could have a big series on our hands here. I'm actually working with Penguin Random House this month to celebrate the release of book 2, A Poison, Dark, and Drowning, which just came out this month. I haven't had the chance to read this yet because I had to bump something else up my TBR, which I'll talk about in a moment. But after finishing this one, I am very excited to get to this one. In this book, we follow a teenage girl named Henrietta Howell, who lives in kind of an alternate history Victorian London. This gateway to like a demon world has been opened, and a bunch of demons have just flooded into our world, and this huge war has kind of broken out. Fortunately, there are sorcerers, men who have magical abilities and who are able to fight these monsters. Henrietta has the ability to burst into flames, and she's pretty sure this is gonna get her killed, so when her abilities are revealed, she is quite surprised to not be killed and instead be told that she is the chosen one. There's a prophecy about her, she's gonna save them all, and they take her off to start training as a sorcerer, which up to this point has been almost exclusively men. She starts training with the other sorcerers and learning about magic, and starts to realize that she might not be the chosen one, but now that she's in this position, she has to see this through, and she has to like like become the hero they want her to be, or she's doomed. I am completely unsurprised by how much I enjoyed this book. Like, going into it, I knew it had so many elements that I love, and it blended them all together beautifully. Like, it felt familiar in a lot of ways. There were little like echoes of dynamics and tropes and stuff that I had seen before, but the way it all played together felt really fresh and different. Nothing really played out quite how I expected it to. It wasn't like shocking, completely the opposite of what I thought, but it was like just the perfect amount to keep me like pleasantly surprised throughout. This was a really solid start to the series. Like, it's a really big, complicated world, but we got a nice little taste of it here and some good setup for where we're gonna go next in the series. I don't quite have a grasp of the world just yet, but mostly because it is so large and complex, but I loved what I saw. I love our cast of characters here. I love our sorcerer boys. I am a bit conflicted when it comes to the romantic relationships. Like, I'm not sure what direction we're gonna go in. I'm also not sure what direction I want us to go in. Like, I don't know. But I'm excited to see where we go. I've heard that book 2 is even better than book 1, so that has me stoked. Next up, I have here Night of Cake and Puppets, written by Laini Taylor and illustrated by Jim DeBartolo. This is a short story set in the world of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, which is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. This is definitely not required reading for the trilogy. Like, what happens in here has no real impact at all on the other books. In between books 1 and 2 of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, the main character's best friend gets a boyfriend. And this is the story of that best friend and her boyfriend and how they got together. It's not like relevant to the trilogy, but still, it was so good. It was so good, and I hated it so much. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Like, the words, the illustrations, the relationship. Oh my god, the relationship, the romance, it was disgusting because it was so like adorable and perfect and sweet, and it made me feel so many things. And I hate that. I hate feeling things, but it made me feel things. Primarily loneliness. I don't want to be over dramatic, but like, this book ruined my life. Like, I thought I was fine being single. You know, I'm a strong, independent female. I don't need a man. Nanu namja upshi jal sara. But this book made me want so badly a magical romantic night with my soulmate, and like, I'm now at the point in my life where I'm too old and jaded to believe that I can have that. So this book just made me depressed. Like, it was beautiful. The words, the illustrations, it was funny, it was sweet, it was wonderful. And if you're in like a loving relationship, or you're really truly happy not being in one, then I would totally recommend this, but otherwise, I would suggest staying away. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna be truly happy in a relationship because this book is just gonna be like hanging in the back of my head, casting shadows over everything. 5 out of 5 stars! And finally, I have here Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is the book that I bumped up my TBR. It was actually a reread for me. The thing is, I've kind of been invited to a special early screening of the movie adaptation, and yes, I am freaking out just a little, thanks for noticing. I'll talk more about the movie when I'm allowed to, trust me. But yeah, since I last read this book like over 2 years ago when it first came out, I felt the need for a reread. Like, I wanted it to be fresh in my mind when I saw the film. This is another book that was just like adorable and happy and sweet, though it didn't ruin me like A Night of Cake and Puppets. Basically, it's about this teenage boy named Simon who has figured out that he's gay, but he hasn't come out yet. He's been emailing back and forth with another boy at his school, but they don't know each other's identities. Like, it's anonymous. They just know nicknames. Then we have this douche canoe of a guy who discovers Simon's emails, and he uses this information to kind of blackmail Simon into helping him win over one of Simon's friends. Blackmail aside, it's not really a sinister book or a dark book at all. Like, again, it's just very happy and fun and cute. The email messages are very cute, and the mystery of like the identity of who he's been emailing is really engaging. And like all the characters are fantastic. Like we have Simon's group of friends, and there's so many fun dynamics there, and Simon's family and his relationships with them like play a pretty large role in this book, and they're all so great and fun, and it's a great YA contemporary book. I loved it the first time, I loved it the second time, and I am so excited to see the movie. Oh my god. All right, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the books I have recently read, and that is gonna do it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a great night, and I will have another video up soon, so I will see you then. Goodbye!